You and Chris are going to be in here talking about God knows what.
Howdy. What's happening?
Good evening.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening. The rest of her like, what's that?
There's a little bit of class on the show tonight.
That's why we bring her on here.
That's right.
Keep us in line a little bit. Just a little bit. Hey guys, welcome to the Retro Show. The Retro Show is an homage to growing up in the 70s and 80s like we did. And we are very glad that you have decided to join us for this episode, which is not so much a look back. Well, yeah, I guess it is a look back, but it's something that anybody of any age, if our age, younger, whatever, has probably had a bad boss. And so we're going to be getting into talking about bad bosses. But first, I'm going to introduce a new segment on the show that we're going to start doing. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to play a round of Florida Man. Let me explain what Florida... First of all, let me give you the background of Florida Man and how the whole Florida Man thing came up online. There was a thing happening a couple of years ago, a meme or some kind of thing that was happening where the challenge was to put in the phrase on a search engine, Google, Bing, whatever, Florida Man, and then your birth date, like say June 23rd for me, or December 2nd. And any time you put in Florida Man and that date, you would have to bring up and post what the headline was, because Florida, as we all know, is ground zero for crazy. So there's such a melting pot, and you throw in like
There's some people up there in North Central Arkansas might have things to say about that.
That's a true story, kids. But so anyway, the whole thing with Florida Man and how we're going to play this now, okay, is I'm going to read off three different headlines. These are just headlines from news stories. We're not going to get into the news story, just the headline on the story. Only one of them is false. There's enough Florida Man stuff where they could do it where they only had to put one falsehood on each card for three different questions.
Okay.
So what are we trying to do? Are we trying to say
We're guessing which one is false.
is false?
Which one is false?
I got you.
Okay? So, not which one is true, because they're all crazy enough that they could be true because it's Florida. One of the 3 states of water. Anyway, it's a private joke, and Bradley wants to kill me right now. So, your first question. A, B, or C, and you have to pick which one is false.
Okay.
Okay? Florida man wearing homemade knife necklace threatens neighbor.
Homemade knife necklace.
Yes. B, Florida woman gets plastic surgery 28 times to look like comic book character. C, Florida woman dresses as fire-breathing mermaid and catches self on fire. Which one of these is false? Do you want to read them again?
No.
Okay.
I know which one's false.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Me too.
C.
I agree.
No. B, Florida woman gets plastic surgery 28 times to look like comic book character. The ones that were true were A, Florida man wearing homemade knife necklace threatens neighbor.
There was no way that was not true.
That was no way that was not true.
I knew that one was
But
true.
this is also true. Florida woman dresses as fire-breathing mermaid and catches self on fire.
Well,
Because
I can see somebody, not just in Florida, guys, please don't take it personal, but I can see
take it
somebody.
personal.
I can see somebody doing plastic surgery, because I've seen some plastic surgery. I'm like, what are you doing?
Well,
Why?
yeah, and I've seen a dude on TV that has done that on that show, Botched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
he was trying to
Look like a Ken doll or something like that.
Yeah, it was like a Ken doll. But mermaids don't breathe fire.
I'm kind of with her.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's
Okay.
next one,
The next one. Okay.
because it's kind of fun.
Florida man wrecks liquor shop blames hookah smoking caterpillar. That's A. Florida man wrecks liquor shop, blames hookah smoking caterpillar. B. Florida man drunkenly called 911 to report his wife is a black widow spider. C. Florida man arrested for nudity at shopping mall claimed he was invisible.
I'm going with A.
With A being false. I'm going to say B is false. I'm going to say B is false.
Both of you are incorrect.
Golly,
C.
Chris. We're bad.
C. Florida man arrested for nudity at shopping mall claimed he was invisible,
Yeah, see,
which to
that's-
me was the most believable
Right.
ones.
The most probable
Right?
one.
Well, that hookah smoking caterpillar is from White Rabbit.
Yeah, but that's what the guy thought.
Yeah. Well,
So, yeah. All right.
the music speaks to me.
It speaks to me, man. Next one.
All right.
A. Florida woman petitions to have her age legally lowered by 20 years since she, quote, looks so young. B. Florida man arrested for botching castration on victim he met on dark web. C. Florida woman bit off babysitter's lip during fight over crying child.
God, I'm just going with B because I just want it to be false.
I would think B is true. I'm gonna say A is false.
Debbie gets that one there. And so, yeah,
that's
the one that was false is Florida woman petitions to have her age legally lowered by 20
I can
years
actually
since she
see that happening.
looks so young.
There's some crazy people in this
There's
world.
some crazy people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why they call it Florida man or Florida woman. Okay, last one for the night. And like I said, I want to make this a regular. This is fun. A. Florida woman shoots self while using Snapchat. B. Florida man submits dog for U.S. presidential bid. C. Florida man calls 911 to request female deputies to have sex with him.
I'm going with, is it B, the dog?
Yes.
I'm going with B.
Oh, I'm sorry. I already answered it. Yeah, so I botched that one up.
You got to do another one.
So we
then.
got to do another one now. Okay.
I'm sorry. I just said I'm going with B.
Yeah, and then I said you're right, but yeah.
It's okay, boys.
Okay, so which one of these is false? Ladies and gentlemen, we're playing Florida Man. Florida man jumps off a surfboard and lands on shark. B. Florida woman threatens son and mother with knife over lost iPad. C. Florida woman divorces husband after he spells her name wrong on tattoo.
Gosh, they're all three probable.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say A is false.
Okay.
I'm going with C.
C. Chris is right. A Florida man actually did jump off a surfboard and land on a shark, which,
Well, you know what? You say that, and I saw a video of a dude hooking up a bunch of beef on a fishing rod, throwing a surfboard
Yeah.
off. Did you see this?
I saw that.
And he
It's
hooks
nuts.
up a shark, and he's surfing behind the shark, and the shark's pulling him.
Yeah.
What are you doing, man?
Florida man. Florida man. Folks, thanks for listening to the Retro Show and watching the Retro
Absolutely.
Show. We appreciate you tuning in each week, all of you. You can go to theretroshow.net and you can find out all you need to know about where to watch the podcast. You can also find out about the Retro Show store, where you can get things like Team Chris shirts.
They got Team Butch shirts too, man.
Yeah,
He's starting
but-
to make me feel bad
Yeah.
because the sales are down.
they sales are down, and and then we have things like we have
Coffee cups?
coffee cups, we have T-shirts galore, we got sweatshirts, we got hoodies, and we got just about everything. So retroshow.net.
We got this
Also-
nice little teddy that I never mind.
No, I didn't actually. I could. Could make a Team Chris Teddy for you if you wanted to. I don't know how you're going to look in it, but
A teddy.
Well,
Yeah, I don't know how
That's
Chris
what
is
I'm
going
gonna say.
I don't know how Chris is going to look in it, Teddy.
You don't worry about it.
That's my business.
That's my business.
I'll ask Cindy.
She ain't gonna know.
Folks, we're going to come back. When we come back on the Retro Show, we're going to talk bad bosses. Bad bosses. Right here on the Retro Show.
These are the wonderful people who support the Retro Show with a monthly contribution of $3. LNC Corporation, Dusty Breeze, Kevin Goff, Norton, Chris B, Nancy Schwartz, Joshua Ramsey, Fran Adams, EM, Bradford Mason, Tonya Highland. Thank you to all of our fantastic supporters. Find out how you can support the podcast by heading to retroshow.net. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Retro Show, ladies and gentlemen. Topic of today's show, bad bosses. Guys, have you had bad bosses before?
Yes.
Can you say?
I was probably a bad employee.
Fair enough.
I'm just being honest.
Yeah,
I'm probably, I mean, I had some people I didn't get along with.
Yeah.
But whatever.
I had, I can tell you that I have had, and I have to be real careful on one of them too, because they're litigious. And Debbie's making noise.
What in the wild world of sports? Am I going to have to go get another rag?
Well, I'm trying to shake up my whipped cream in my coffee.
Her whooped cream.
My whipped cream.
Her whooped cream.
It's whooped in there.
It's whooped.
Well, in that case.
No, we're podcasting. But I have to be kind of careful about so I won't be naming names. What you got there?
Whoop Big Suey.
Oh, Whoop Big Suey. Go Hogs. It's basketball season. Yay.
Right. God, come on, baseball.
Come on, baseball. But there are a couple right now that as a matter of fact, I've got a friend of mine that that we've just talked to recently that we could probably just go on for a long time talking about a bad boss. But I'm not naming names. So let me go back to bad boss number one. It was when I was in high school. And this guy he was a jerk. I'm just going to just say it. I had bought concert tickets. Debbie knows about this. I bought concert tickets. We were going to go see Ozzy Osbourne. Okay. And I had concert tickets, and I had tried to get someone else to fill in for me. And he found out it was for Ozzy Osbourne. And because he didn't like Ozzy Osbourne, he did not approve my time off. And I had to stay and work a shift that night. Debbie had to take the tickets and
Sold one to my brother.
yeah, and sold one to, and so she could go to the show. And yeah, big time jerk. And I'm going to be nice because he's no longer in this world. But
now's the time to let it loose.
No. Like I said, I don't want to hurt any family or any friends you may have, their feelings or anything. But yeah, that guy's a jerk.
Yeah, that's not cool, man. I'm sorry, that's not cool.
No, it wasn't cool at all because it really is none of his business. Right. I had someone set to cover my shift, and he didn't approve it because he didn't think that was.
I've had several, but I don't want to discuss it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, honestly, there's a couple people out there, and if they're listening to this podcast, you know who you are, and I'll never forgive them, ever, not ever, and there's no forgiveness in my heart for what they did to me. So
it was bad, huh?
It was.
Yeah.
And I'm just not going to say it.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to see you're not bitter.
Well, you know what? I'm not bitter, but I don't forget either.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't. I absolutely have nothing to do with them.
I
won't acknowledge them. I mean, I'm not an asshole.
Yeah.
But I'm not talking to you. I'm done. We're done.
Yeah.
That's
fair to do that. My thing is that to me, I don't hate anybody. I really don't. I hate nobody.
No, man. I mean, no, I'm with you.
Because to
100%.
me, the opposite of love is not hate; it's apathy. Because
That's a big word. I
You know.
have to get a damn dictionary with Butch talking.
you know,
Apathy. What? Okay.
Like what you're doing.
you don't
just
care.
over it
You don't care.
and move past it.
You don't care about them enough to hate them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
You're
it.
you're apathetic.
That's pretty
about
much
the
it.
whole thing.
That's pretty
Yeah.
much it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Debbie, any?
Well, I think being a woman, my bad bosses were
It's somebody I need to go whoop.
a different situation where, the very first boss I ever had, I worked at a restaurant. And it wasn't so much he never did anything to me, but there's always a sexual harassment component to it.
Yeah.
And I remember I wanted a little summer job, and another friend I worked with in high school, she said, well, come work with us. If you're halfway good looking, he'll hire you. So
Red flag number one.
that's,
Depends on the business, though.
yeah.
I mean, it really does. I
It
mean, I'm not gonna lie
does.
to you. I mean, you take Shorty's Little Pig, for instance, downtown here. I'll just mention that name. They've always got cute girls in there. It's a draw. It is, and they always hire cute girls, and they're younger girls, early college, high school, but that's the way that's always been.
I will tell you, and it wasn't the TV station I worked at, but I will say that there was a TV general manager in town that back in the 70s and 80s, and this is a story that I heard when I was in TV, he hired almost exclusively attractive young women to be his salespeople. His reasoning behind that is it's very hard for a man to say no to an attractive young woman. Be it if they remind you of someone you're attracted to, or they remind you of a daughter or whatever, it's hard to say no.
All the sexual tension aside, sex sells.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in everything. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
You look on TV and it's, you know what I'm saying?
Well, that's why people,
Right.
because they tune in to see you on this show.
Well, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
So I'm at a job and I get called in by my supervisor and they say, I just want you to know you've been accused of sexual harassment. And I went, okay, by who? Well, I can't tell you that. Okay, what did I say? Well, I can't tell you that either. I know you don't mean anything by it, but watch what you say. So I come home to Cindy and I said, hey, man, I got called in for sexual harassment today. She goes, what did you say? I said, how long have you known me? There's no telling what came out of my mouth.
Yeah.
I don't even think about that stuff being that, you know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
all a joke to me anyway. So-
Well, and there's things that you say that definitely people take too far.
Yeah.
Too far, that really hurts women who were really going through a case of sexual harassment. Like, I can give you examples of, when I was younger, we got married and I worked in a store, and there was a small room, and I had to be in the small room to look up prices. And there's a guy like my dad's age. There wasn't any reason for him to be there. And he just starts walking toward me. There's no reason for him to be walking toward me. I have nowhere to go. And I just have to push past it, and not a word was said. So sometimes there's a lot of times when you're a woman, there is a component of that, whether it be
Sure.
a sexual thing,
agree.
whether
Yeah.
it be a power thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no power.
Yeah, but I
It wasn't a
mean,
power thing.
but if it's your boss, they do.
right,
Yeah.
right.
So,
I get what you're saying.
I had a boss when Butch and I lived, in Hot Springs, and he was just not a nice man. If people came in and vendors, if your department was doing well, they might give you something. I mean, some places they would give rifles
Or
and
shotguns.
guns. I mean, things like that were for the department head, and the store manager would take them.
Yeah, and keep them.
He would say, the store manager gets them, things like that, or bonuses or things like that. He would take it. He would take it from you.
I don't even know how legal is that.
I
mean, you gotta.
know.
Did we both work at this place?
No,
No.
Okay.
this was in Hot Springs where she.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was thinking about where I worked here in town.
But I'm my own boss now, so
yeah,
I'm pretty good to me.
yeah. You're pretty.
I'm pretty good to me.
Yeah,
But I'll tell you, you will work.
Butch, do you feel sexually harassed here at home? Just saying.
every
Not
day.
every day. Come on, man.
Listen. I've got him.
I
in
mean,
a,
can you blame her?
I've got him in an
Let me
apron
show you
in
what
front
Daddy's
of the
working
stove.
with.
Look at this. Come on.
Yeah, I'm out mowing the lawn and he's cooking.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
You dang right.
We like it that
Man.
way.
We like it that way.
I'll tell you something. This is another rabbit hole, but I go out to Persimmon Ridge all the time. It's
Yeah.
Kim and Steve Jones.
Yeah.
And I pull up out there one day, and Steve is sitting in a rocking chair on the front porch. And I look, and Kim is out there on the big mower mowing the fairways. And I just, God, I love you, man. The truth of the matter is, Kim loves to mow. That's
Yeah.
her thing. So, but it was just funny looking because Steve's kicked back with his feet up, drinking iced tea, and Kim's out there mowing the grass.
You
Man,
know,
you're
but
awesome.
she probably has like a real nice sit down mower too. It's
Oh,
not
my
like
gosh,
she's push
dude,
mowing
no
the thing
way.
or
Yeah,
anything.
Jennifer that I work with, she loves to mow. They've got like 8 acres, and
Yep.
she's got a nice mower, and she likes it done the way she likes it done.
Get it done the way you
She
want it
hops
done.
out there and does it.
They have 90 acres,
Yeah.
and they cut all of that with 2 big mowers.
Wow.
Wow.
And I asked him one time, I said, man, don't you have a bush hog for your tractor? He goes, I can cut faster with these.
Yeah.
And of course,
Those
they
big
only-
zero turn mowers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're not mowing everything. They're mowing just fairways and stuff like that and leaving the rough mostly high. So it's not a bad gig, but they have to do it.
But they gotta
all the
do it
time.
all the
But Kim loves it, so
Yeah.
it's just funny to see him kick back drinking
Kim
iced
just
tea.
tell you while she's out there.
She's out there
doing
mowing.
that.
God, I love
That's
you. You're my
yeah.
hero.
Steve Jones. Yeah. Listen, all those Jones boys, man, I like those guys.
me too.
Those guys are solid. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you, because it's essentially we started about bad bosses, but we've kind of hit everything, which is fine because we chase rabbits on here. I will tell you one time. And I will tell you this is when I was in television. This guy is no longer in this. Okay. There you go.
Thank you.
This guy is no longer in this television market, but he was my general manager in Little Rock when I worked for a television station there. I'm not going to say which one, but you know. And we had, that's my dog.
Was that Bentley?
Yeah, it was Bentley whining about
He
something.
yawned.
He yawned. Yeah,
He was awesome.
but this guy was quite possibly one of the most arrogant human beings that I've ever worked for.
Aren't they hard to be around?
And he was insufferable at times.
Right.
And I remember that there was, and I will just say that there was this is the early days of internet, okay? And so the technology and the apps to schedule ads is not what it is now.
We have the technology.
We do now. But back in the day, it was very hit or miss. And there was this, I'm just going to say, there's a program that I used. I scheduled the ad to go. But even then, you're not guaranteed that it's going to show up like exactly at 6 o'clock because there's all, I'm just going to say that as an IT guy, there's all sorts of variables that can affect when someone sees an ad. It's supposed to show up at 6 o'clock on a Saturday. At 6:01, he's calling me screaming because he can't see it. Screaming and yelling. So I say, well, let me look and see what's going on. And he's still going. He's just blah, blah, he's just yelling at me. And finally, I said, you yelling at me is not helping me get this done any quicker. And then he hits about another level. And I go, and hung up. I showed up to work on the next Monday. This guy's coming downstairs and he wants to apologize. And I went, stop right there. I said, if you call my house when I'm not at work to yell at me, my policy is most of the time I will yell at you back. But I wasn't in the mood for it, so I just hung up on you. I will not be talked to like that. And it changed the dynamic on how we work together after that, on a positive note. Because he was one of these guys that he'll bully people if he can, but if you push back a little bit, he folds.
Yeah.
You know.
Kind of like...
you know what I mean? But
I almost threw a name out there, and I was like, no, that's not a good idea.
It's not a good idea. Oh, I'm not going to throw a name out there, but anybody that worked with me knows who I'm talking about, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, I just can't stand people like that. Just be a decent human being to the people that work for you.
It's really hard sometimes. When you work, especially in a big facility and there's lots of employees and you have lots of different personalities, you're juggling.
Oh, you are.
All the
because
time.
you have to play to whatever personality that you're dealing with at the time.
I think they're all playing to my personality because I think you know me pretty well. I don't put up with much BS, and I'm not going to stand there very long and listen to it.
You and I are both at the age, though, that you can get by. I'm telling you, we're at the age we can get by with it.
I don't know if we can get by
Oh,
with it. I'm
I
going to
do.
get probably I'm going to get in trouble eventually, but I'm just like, what are you saying?
So one of the
why
things,
are you saying it?
One of the things that at where I work now, they did a kind of little funny thing. But, the thing about funny things is there's an element of truth to them. They gave out little awards at the end of the year one time. And I got voted most likely to give you a dad look.
Yeah.
For not, just for anything.
A dad look.
And what they're talking about is this.
Yeah.
And
as I'm giving the entire time we're on this podcast.
Were these younger people?
Yes, they're all younger people, and so it's like both. And I am. I'm like one of the people around there that they know that's like, don't call him, because you're supposed to restart your computer before you call us, right? Do that first,
Right.
Before you call your IT guy, people, look at me. Before you call your IT guy, restart your computer. And I don't mean log off. I mean restart it. Thank you. That's my TED Talk.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Not that IT guys have anger issues.
No, not at all.
No.
At all.
You ought to hear him when I call him. I've got a problem at my house. You stupid.
No, I would never call you that to your face.
Man, what's funny is we got a lot of interns that come in right now where I work. They're college kids and they're trying to go into the medical field in some form.
Yeah.
And they work their tail ends off.
Yeah, they do.
But I give them hell.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do. They've got the all over Christmas break, they've had the teacher's office. And they've all in there in the mornings when I come in. And I always walk over to that door and I'd step inside and they're like, hey, Chris, what's going on? Hey, how's it going? How's it going? I'll just go. I turn around and walk out. Finally, a couple of days ago, I walked in and said, guys, I know I give y'all hell all the time, but y'all do a great job.
That's good.
You really
got to
do a
give
great
that to them
job.
sometimes.
You do, man. They work their ass off. But and the last time I said, I know I give y'all hell, but a young mind is a terrible thing not to mess with.
There's a couple of them there, and if they're listening, then I never said this. Okay? But I think of them as work kids. There's a couple of young guys around there. They're work kids to me. Because they're all younger than my youngest
difference.
kid.
Yeah, it's a generational
And,
difference.
and I actually try to take care of them because they're my work kids.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah. Debbie, any other... I knew that story you told, but any other bad boss?
There was not really. I have been, right before we got married, and this is the thing. I worked at this little
dress shop.
This little dress shop, and the
that guy.
older couple, and they were precious. He and her both. They had a nincompoop son that was married to this, I'm sorry, Michelle Duggar looking lady, and they had about that many kids, and he was just a creepy little grease ball. And, here I am, this 18-year-old.
There's so many places to go with this. And I just have to get
18-year-old
biting my
little
tongue.
thing in there, and he would, if anything needed to be fixed or whatever, they would send him in very uncomfortable around him because he would make comments.
Yeah, that ain't cool.
Like, your skirt's a little tight, isn't it? Was one comment, and different things. And here's the thing, when you're that age and a man is,
a little bit
more than
older.
10 years older than you, it's a little bit intimidating. If it was somebody my age, I'd shoot them down in a heartbeat.
Here's the thing. Guys, don't be Mr. Creepy. Don't be creepy old guy.
Hey, this day and time, you got young ladies, don't be Mrs. Creepy either.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that's going on a
For
lot more than
sure,
it used
for
to,
sure.
for sure.
And I could have said something, but and sometimes it's not even like a fear of losing your, because listen, I was getting married. I didn't have to have that job. I could have got. Sometimes it's just like you don't want to make a big deal.
Yeah.
But I'll just say, girls, don't put up with it.
Yeah, don't put up
Make
with
a big deal. Let them make a big deal.
Tell
but
your daddy.
But for the most part, I love working for myself. I love Jen that I work with, and I've done it long enough now where I've had kids grow up and get married and have their own kids. I had a little girl come in today, and I hadn't cut her hair in a while. Well, little girl, she's probably creeping up on almost 30, and she has a little one, and she's like, I've had somebody cut my hair because I could trade out with her, and I'm trying to stay home with my little girl, but she said, I just missed you, and I wanted to, so my job is so rewarding, and I work harder for myself than I ever worked for anybody
How long
else.
have you been cutting Candace's hair? Since he was one? You gave him his first haircut.
Yes, and I cut his ear. He moved, and I cut his ear.
You did.
I remember that.
But he still comes to you.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm going to tell you I'm going to brag on Chris's kids. And I know Cannon better than I know Cayenne, but they are just the sweetest kids with the best manners. I remember seeing them at Kroger, and they're like preschool or early school, and Cindy's got them in one of those little cars, and we just stopped and visited, and she's just like, why? I had to leave, and I heard him ask Cindy, well, why does she have to go? We were talking to her. I mean, and I just love them. And Cannon walks in, and he's quiet and just so cute, and we just love him. And he's turned into a little hottie.
Uh-oh. Did you hear that, boy?
He has. He's turned into a little hottie.
Yeah. Well, he's up at U of A now, right?
He is. He is.
Breaking hearts.
He is
And
tearing
making
it
good
up.
grades.
He came in and turned all the little old ladies' heads when he came
There
in.
you go.
I'm going to tell you right now, that boy works hard.
That's good.
That's all he does is school and go to the gym. And now, since he's been home for Christmas, all he does is duck hunt. There ain't no ducks, but he's going. It don't matter. He's going. And that's good. I did it.
Sounds like somebody
remember me
else I
doing
know.
it.
Oh, I remember you doing it.
I was gone.
Listen,
all the
man,
time.
here's the thing. I had this conversation today with my current boss, by the way, who is a good dude. Kevin. Hey, dude. Yeah.
Kevin, you are a good dude.
Kevin's a good dude.
I don't even know you.
We were talking fishing today, and if you can talk fishing with your boss, you got a good boss. And it was, he said, I used to go fishing just to see if they were biting or not.
Well, that's why they call it fishing and not catching.
And not catching.
Yeah. So I'm at total peace when I'm on the river and fishing. I mean, I'm at total peace. A guide will make me mad in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
That will make me mad. And my motor not running. That'll make me mad.
That'll make you mad.
That's it. I mean, everything else is gravy.
Well, as your former cabin boy, I can say that Chris is pretty good.
Now, how old is Cayenne now, Chris?
17.
Is she a senior?
She's a senior.
She's a senior. I know. I saw her picture the other day, and I just thought, when did that happen?
Yeah, dude, I'm going to tell you right now, she's grown up into a nice
She is
nice
a gorgeous
young lady.
kid.
She, I'm very proud of her. I'm
So
proud of both my
cute,
kids,
of
but my
course.
dads and daughters have a special thing, and I'm very proud of the young lady she has become. She could have went in so many different directions, and she chose wisely. And that's one thing we've done. we've tried to guide our children,
Yeah.
but not force them to do anything, and it worked for us. I'm happy with her choices she's making. I think she's planning on going to UCA
Good for her.
in the fall.
So to the boss thing again. Now I want to speak to bosses out there because I've had to be a manager before.
Yeah.
And I know it's not easy, but if you have to threaten or try to pull a power trip or anything like that, you're my definition of a boss. And boss spelled backwards is double SOB. So don't be that guy or woman.
Don't micromanage people.
Nope.
Tell
Give
them
a
what
task,
you want done.
let them do it.
And let them do it. And then if you're not happy with the outcome, then you set them down and you have a talk with them what you expect out of this when I give you a task. But don't micromanage
No,
people.
don't micromanage
Not
them.
cool.
I had at a previous job that I had where I was not entirely happy there, but I had wonderful
Coworkers.
people working for me
Oh, I got
there.
you.
I didn't have to manage, and they made it easy.
Yeah.
And that's honestly the best situation you want to be in. You let your people, you trust them to be able to do what they're hired to do.
Sure.
And you turn them loose.
Yeah.
And if they don't deliver, then you
have to be a boss.
Then you have to be a boss.
You have to sit down and have that conversation.
I
with them
never
and say,
had to have
"Listen,
with any of the people
That's good.
that worked under me. I never had an issue with that. I had wonderful people working with me. When I was at Channel 11, the people that I worked with, they're wonderful people.
I'll tell you right now, man, we're talking about bad bosses, but I'm going to tell you about one of my favorite bosses of all time. When I decided to do what I'm doing now, when I decided to go back to school and do physical therapy, I had to work any way I could because I was married and I had a house payment, truck payment, all that. And Alan Logan, which we both grew up with, was building log cabins. And I'm going to tell you right now, that is absolutely the best boss I've ever had.
Was Alan? I can see that.
Man. Alan never said, this is what you're doing, da-da-da-da-da. He would say, hey, man, this is what I need you to do. Can you do this for me, please?
And then he would let you do it.
And then he would just go. And then I was not skilled labor. I'm talking they're building authentic log cabins. I'm not capable of doing that.
Yeah.
I was labor, basically.
Yeah.
Move this log. The worst thing that he ever had me do was not only were we working on somebody else's cabin, but he was building his cabin for him and Dana at the time up at Guy. And he had all live poles for rafters. And there's a pile of them. And I had a sawhorse and a draw knife. And a draw knife has two handles with a knife in the center. And all of that bark had to come off of every one of those poles.
Oh, man.
My hands were blistered up and everything. I wasn't being punished. It had to be done.
It had to be done.
But I was getting paid to do that.
But he trusted you to do that, too.
I mean, there was one day he came to me and he goes, hey, man, come help me do this. Okay, what are we doing? He goes, we're going to load these boats up. These 2 kayaks, this canoe. I said, okay, what are we doing? He said, we're going to take these down to the creek, drop them off. Okay. So we drop them off down at the creek. He goes, all right, man, I need you to follow me down to the 65 bridge. Okay. In my truck? Yeah. All right. So I follow him down there, drop his truck off, pick him up. We come back. He goes, you got any warm clothes? I was like, no, Alan, I don't. He goes, here, man. He gave me this Patagonia pullover. It looked like a full body cotton that I put on. And we went, me and him and Dana went canoeing on the North Cadern for the afternoon. You know, and I had busted my ass all morning. I was tired.
Yeah.
But come lunchtime, we put
it in.
He paid me for that.
He paid you for that.
But it was just, I mean, stuff like that. I mean, you get stuff like that, and it makes you want to work for somebody.
It does.
If you can inspire your people,
Yeah.
they'll work for you.
I mean,
they will be so loyal, you know, and part of that is giving them respect.
Sure.
Letting them do, and if they do make a mistake, don't come down on them. Work to correct the error, because a lot of times it's not on purpose. You know,
man,
it's just about not knowing.
He was absolutely the easiest person I ever worked for.
Yeah.
I knew what he expected, and of course we grew up together. So I mean, I was I was a Logan, like Dennis Curtis, but I was a Logan, and we were all in Scouts together and all of that. So it was cool. That's a good boss, guys.
That's a good boss.
Yeah.
That's a good boss.
So, really cool.
Well, and and sometimes kind of like what you were saying. Even like at the salon, we would hire like a little receptionist / cleaner, and they would be young. And maybe their first job.
Right.
And I realized they don't know how to work.
No,
They don't.
Like they don't know how to work. They don't know the value of $1. And we had this little girl one time, and her mom was an a customer of mine, and they were both. I liked them both a lot. And this child had never turned her hand for anything in her life, but she wanted the job because it came with free hair care. And I mean, listen,
yeah.
she would forget.
Why do you think I married her?
She would forget to take out the trash. I mean, anything she could forget to do, she would forget to do. But when it came time to get that hair done, buddy,
Boy, she was there, wasn't she?
And so one day I thought, I was talking to another lady that was at the salon with me, and she said, a lot of times kids, they just don't know what you can say, answer the phone, make an appointment, dust, but they don't know, exactly how you want that done.
Yeah.
Like smiling through the phone. Like when you
Yeah.
answer the phone, smiling through the phone. And,
Hello.
yeah. Or so one night I stayed like 2 hours when I was done, and I did her job for her with me, shadowing me the whole time. And I will never forget it, as I told her mom about it, and we both laughed. That place had not been dusted, and so literally I did it all, and I turned around and I said, okay, that's what I want you to do. She said, well, am I not doing that?
no.
No.
And then that night, she
are
didn't
not.
take the trash out.
And that my first job was as a lifeguard till some blue kid got me fired. That's a joke, by
Chad
the way.
Boyd.
Terrible.
It's a horrible
That's
joke.
a terrible joke, and Debbie's so disappointed in me right now. But I'm pretty proud of it. But no, my first job was as a lifeguard. But the first time I had a job, like when I was after 16, it was at a radio station. And so not only did I have to do DJ stuff, at the end of the night, I had to clean the building. And they let me know real quick if I didn't do a good enough job. So I got pretty good at cleaning. It's one of those things that, when you're starting out, you don't get to hold out for a management position, people. You have to go in and you have to do stuff like clean toilets.
You get a draw knife.
You have to, you get a draw knife. You have to do things like sweep. You have to do things like mop, and you learn the value, because at the time I was getting paid $3.35.
You slept and
an hour.
mopped KCON?
Oh, every night.
You did?
Yes, I would sign off. So I would read the news from 10 to 10:15. I would sign off after they had whatever thing they played at the end. I think it was a Mormon Tabernacle Choir or something like that, singing Lord's Prayer. And after that, we would sign off. And then after that, I had to clean bathrooms. I had to sweep. And I had to sweep the stairs, even going down to the thing. So, I was there till 11 o'clock. Every night, because it'd take me, because I got to where I could do that in 45 minutes. Now, the part that I didn't like is the back end of that building was creepy and dark, and it was old. And, I didn't like being back there. But, yeah, but I had to do, I had to vacuum floors. I had to do all of that.
I think, I never did come down there when you were working at KCON.
You never did when I was
But
there.
I did KUCA. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I did come over. Every other radio station I've been to. But,
you were there, yeah.
But not KCON.
But, yeah,
he didn't want to see me to see him mopping floors and cleaning
floors and cleaning toilets, man. And it was just, it was, and I think it would, that needs to be the kind of first job that you have.
Right. Right.
Because you don't start off in a management position. You build up to that stuff.
No.
And I think a lot of people coming out today, they expect to have a position and not a job.
Well, especially these college kids that are coming out today, y'all, they don't even buy books anymore. Everything is either printed form,
Yeah.
or it's online,
Yeah.
and it's kind of sad,
It
actually.
is.
I mean, I'm as a father that's got a kid in college, I'm kind of glad I'm not buying books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I think that was a huge racket. But
Oh, it was huge, dude. We would pay almost as much in books as we did tuition at the
Yep.
time.
That's
Because,
right.
So are there books online? Like
Yeah.
their information?
Yeah.
Like ebooks and
Right.
that sort
E-books
of thing.
and just-
I don't know exactly how. I mean,
Yeah.
Ken was griping the other day about something that I think it was his physics professor was not putting the stuff out like they normally do, and he was having to read.
I gotta read, man, on paper.
Do you remember when we used to have to go to the library and look things up in books?
That was our Google. Was the Dewey? Remember we talked about that on
The
a
card
previous
catalog.
Was the card catalog, the Dewey Decimal System?
That's right.
Yes.
Folks.
Or I need just like a report.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you had to go in and the encyclopedia.
World Book
It's just
Encyclopedia.
kind of funny to me
Yeah.
that a kid has got classes like Chem 2, Organic Chemistry, Differential Equations, Intro to Chemical Engineering.
I don't know
and
what any
physics,
of that means.
And he is bitching about having to read, and I'm going,
Read,
funny.
man. Oh,
he
anyway.
wasn't really complaining. It was just like, man, I got to do it a different way because I'm not getting this how I need to get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I have to
yeah.
figure out a different way to get the information.
You know what though? That is so impressive to me that he knows that. You know, like he knows the way he needs to take that in.
Yeah, I'm telling you right
Yeah.
now, my son is. I tell people this all the time, and it's not me because he's my son. He's on a different level than a lot of folks. He sees the world different. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, I
He's
got a nephew
brilliant.
just like him.
And he sees the world different, and
Yeah.
it's kind of amazing to watch sometimes.
Yeah.
because I'm not on his level.
No.
I mean, I'm dad. I'm not on his level. I mean, it comes down to he starts getting kind of smart alecky with me, and I have to say, look, you may be smarter than me, but I will beat your ass. We're going to have to resort to violence.
We're going to resort to violence.
So anyway, I mean, it's cool. It's cool to see the differences in what we went through
Yeah.
as to what these kids go through today. And I'm wondering how this is all going to shake out.
Mm-hmm.
I hope, and especially with what Debbie went through as a young woman, and what you had to go through with bosses now, I don't think that's tolerated nearly
No.
like it is, like it used to be.
No.
And that's a good thing.
I agree, 100%.
Because, I'm not going to say where it is that I was working or currently working or any time. I will say that it was since I've been 40. Okay, I had this guy come up and make a comment about someone who's young enough to be my daughter at work. You know, oh, what do you think about it? I said, I think she's about 30 years younger than you is what I think. You know, and you know, because you know, that's I don't know. It's just creepy and weird.
There is a way that people say that comes across as creepy.
Yes.
Now, in the same sense, I think as
Oh, it was definitely creepy the way he
right.
did it.
I'm
Yeah.
saying, but in the same sense, you do acknowledge beauty in young people. I mean, there's youth.
With their tight skin and their judgment.
Do you know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
man, that's a really nice looking girl.
Yeah.
It really is. But that's as far as it goes. You don't go creepy.
Weird.
You don't go
Yeah.
creepy and weird on that because, first of all, I don't have anything to say to somebody that's half my age. I don't. We don't have anything.
What do you have? No.
No.
Except don't do that. You know.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
I have a funny little work story. Are we just about ready to
Oh yeah,
tie this up?
Let's keep going. Yeah.
Since we're down a million rabbit holes, we
Yeah.
get up. But
He's going to edit all this. I'm just saying.
he's gonna. I used to work in a salon that was downtown, and especially like in the winter, we would have people just walk in, and sometimes they'd be a little bit scary. And this one guy, I think he was a homeless guy. Well, I had a couple of girls working with me that were fairly new stylists, and they would stick a sign out in the yard that would say free wax with haircut. Well, what they didn't say was free facial waxing with haircut. And I'm like, so anyway, we're there late one night. This guy comes off the street, and I've seen him. Wanted to know if we did, like Brazilian waxing. And I said, no. Well, then I do not. Well, instead of just leaving, he proceeds to walk to the back room where another girl is working who is, she's probably 15 years younger than me. And so I know what he's going to ask her. So I follow him back there, and she's just has a
Deer
look
in
on her
headlights.
face like, help me. And so I said,
You gotta go.
I said, yeah. I said, let's go back up here. Let's go back up here. I said, yeah, we don't do that. And he wants to hang around, and and I'm not the same 18-year-old that I used to be to put up with stuff. I said, let's go. And this dude spins around, and he says, okay, I'm leaving. I wasn't going to attack you.
Well, then quit giving off that vibe.
And I
Yeah.
said, dude, the simple way that rolled out of your mouth makes me think you might.
Yeah.
Well, what he didn't know was I had a hammer behind my back.
Yeah.
I had pulled it off the shelf, and I laughed at Sharon for having the hammer in there. I said, the first thing they're going to do is take that hammer away from us and use it on us. But I was glad it was there, and I
depends
took
on
him
where
out
you
the door.
apply the
I took him
hammer.
out the door with the hammer.
So, but before you close this down,
Yeah.
I want to clarify what I was saying earlier.
Okay.
We're in Tailgate in Fayetteville because we go up there so we can see Cannon.
Yeah.
And visit with him when he shows up. I mean, really and truly, he's on a different schedule. He works out all hours of the night and then goes to class all day, and then he sleeps when he can and whatever.
Yeah.
We're up there probably mid-November, 1st of November, somewhere around there. I can't remember what game it was, but Rachel had a guy that he knows he works with, or somebody that came by,
Right.
whose daughter goes to school there.
Okay.
And he introduces him, and we talk, and of course it's just kind of well, a little while later his daughter shows up, and Butch, this is absolutely the most beautiful girl I have ever seen in my entire on Fayetteville campus.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? She is the girl next door, Marianne, beautiful, just, and even Cindy was like, good grief. I mean, and when I say beautiful, I'm not talking like hot, wearing hot stuff.
You mean Marianne?
I mean freaking
Not Ginger,
just
Marianne.
just beautiful. And Cindy goes, where is Cannon? And I went, you know what? If you're not up on the deer stand, they're going to walk on by. So it's his loss. I'm sorry. And I tried to tell him, I said, son, this is the prettiest girl I've seen up here, and she is in this sorority. And da-da-da. He goes, Dad, I see 20 of those going to class every day.
Every day.
I'm like, nah, I don't know. But just to clarify what I was talking about earlier, you can acknowledge beauty without
Absolutely.
being
Yeah, you can acknowledge. Here's the thing. I worked in an industry, especially when I was at the commercial TV station, where
Right.
they hired people a lot of times based on, at least partly, on their physical appearance. But at the end of the day, they're just coworkers.
Right.
They're
just people.
They're just people, and it's like, well, what's so and so like? Well, kind of pain in the rear end, to be honest with you. But it's like,
No, they're they were very classy girls.
Yeah.
Very
They were.
classy. Very
I mean,
classy women.
I'll be honest with you, I liked all of them when
Yeah.
I met them. Every one
Yeah.
of them. They were really cool.
class X.
Yeah.
Every
I thought
one of them.
We went to some Christmas show. There was a Christmas show, and
Was it the Buzz Christmas show that they did every year?
I'm not sure.
Was it a karaoke, Christmas karaoke?
People were singing
Yeah, Christmas karaoke.
Don Scott.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
I mean,
Dawn.
we walk in and she just across the room yells, "Butch!" I mean,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? And it was
Listen,
just
all of
she was
those
really cool.
all of those women there ended up like being sisters.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
it was just, it was because when you're in that environment, if you don't work in a news environment, Rabbit, by the way, the whole news environment is what I'd say is long hours of boredom punctuated by about an hour and a half of sheer terror.
Right.
And it's just, putting everything together and things are said and, it's stuff. But, when you work with people like that, you do form this kind of relationship. You don't even get anymore that they're supposed to be attractive people or anymore. They're just people you work with.
Right.
And that's the way it should be anyway,
Well, for the
most
part,
especially if
it
you've
is.
been, but I mean,
For the general person,
Yeah.
it is.
for the general person. But, creepy people really didn't last in our industry very long. They do in radio, but not in TV. So,
Well, they're not going to last pretty much anywhere. Eventually, something's going to bite them.
Yeah.
So whatever.
yeah.
I'm
Guys,
sorry that happened to you, Debbie, at a young age. I'm
yeah,
sorry about that.
it's all right.
Yeah. I remember. I was furious. Man, I was wanting to. She wouldn't let me.
No.
She wouldn't let me go headbutt an old dude.
And why do women do that, man?
I don't know. Maybe they want to keep me out of jail. I don't know. Keep me employed. Things like that. Folks, thanks for watching and listening to The Retro Show. If you want to find out more about the show, you go to retroshow.net. We have a list of everything that we, as far as we got the store, we got all of the places that you can view and listen to us here. And I don't know that we stayed very focused today, but we sure had a good time doing it.
That was fun.
And we gladly thank you guys for coming in. We're going to let Debbie wants to go. She's been working. She has been on her feet all day making me money. And so we're going to let her go and do her thing. But thanks for...
That's a bold statement.
It is. She's making me some money.
Yeah.
That's right. But I was out making her some money, too. So Bentley, the podcast general manager, has given up a long time ago. He's curled up
out.
asleep right down here. Folks, thanks for listening, viewing, and being a
Absolutely.
part of this. And we appreciate all of you. RetroShow.net. Give us a like and a follow and a subscribe wherever you watch or listen to us.
AMF, guys.
Good night, everybody.